What up, y'all? J.D. Dugan here, about to break down the coverage of the most hyped prospect since LeBron, aka Wemby. Is he the most hyped prospect? What are my expectations? And what is up with the media's horrific coverage of this kid from the start? Summer League, day one. Goes out there, struggles a little bit, playing against the number 2 pick, Brandon Miller. Wemby struggled. Pretty obvious. That being said, you go on social media, they were destroying the kid. Every social media outlet used that. They clipped it, content. Let's run this. Just highlight how this kid in his first summer league game, which is a developmental summer league to train, practice, whatever you want to call it, it don't matter at all, right? They ripped the kid apart. Day number 2, he goes out there, he puts on a show, drops 27. Next thing you know, the Wemby show, that's what it was all about. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's night and day. It's all for clicks. Half the people posting these things on social media don't even know sports. They know social media. No hate there. But the point being, we got to get to a point in sports where we can have at least a respectable conversation about an athlete without it being a night and day thing. Let's move into Ohtani and Babe Ruth, right? And we're going to get back to Wemby. Ohtani, people are now calling him the GOAT. Originally, it was Babe Ruth can't even touch Ohtani. Now, people are saying he's the GOAT. Already the most talented baseball player of all time. Let's just slow it down, appreciate the moment, because all of a sudden, Ohtani isn't putting up these historic type of numbers. He struggles a little, hits a midseason road bump, whatever it may be. How does the media coverage turn? What's wrong with Ohtani? So it's a mess. Back to Wemby now. He's a first overall pick. He's supposed to be hyped. There's a lot of hype, but people are calling him. There was a quote that basically said if he wasn't a Hall of Fame caliber player, he's a bust. Let's go over the 11, in my opinion, most hyped players since 2000. LeBron, first ballot Hall of Fame guy. Okay, no doubt about that. Probably the most hyped prospect of all time. What about Greg Oden? Those Bill Russell comparisons, David Robinson comparisons. I remember an SI article back in the day saying, can Greg Oden play the point guard in the NBA? That talented. Injuries derailed his career. Here we are. Imagine in this day and age of Greg Oden's going through what he's going through. It's similar to Zion, where they'd rather just grill a kid, say he has weight issues, this and that, which maybe Zion needs to take care of his body, needs to do this and that. He's like a 21, 22-year-old kid. In the 80s, he would have still been playing college basketball. So let's give the kid a little time to figure it out, become an adult, grow into a professional, because that's what we would do in any other industry in the world. Speaking of Zion, one of the most hyped guys since 2000, we don't even know. We have no clue. Currently, right now in the NBA, one of these guys who's so hyped, coming into the league, similar to Wemby, different because we watched him here in college. We watched him come up on social media. Wemby overseas, there's a little bit more of a mystery to it up until recently started really popping up on the social media. Point being, Zion hasn't proved that a number 1 pick means success. So everyone's saying you get this young kid, it should equal success. Where does that come from? Ben Simmons. Magic Johnson comparisons, anyone? What happened to that? Blake Griffin, first overall pick, all-star. Injuries came into play. John Wall, first overall pick, a lot of hype coming to the league. Derrick Rose, a lot of hype, all-stars, early success. Anthony Davis, a guy who many consider to be a game-changing type of player, almost like Wemby. Wemby has a couple inches on it, but similar style, defensive impact player, stretch the floor, pass from a center position, right? The media loves to rip Anthony Davis to this day. The fans of the Lakers do nothing but rip Anthony Davis. So where is this idea that being a hype pick, being a top pick earns, where's the respect to those kids, first of all? But really, where does it come in that you should be successful from day one? Because we're waiting for half the list here from 2000 to still have success in the NBA. Yao Ming, another guy, injuries derailed his career, a legendary career nonetheless. The hype was there. People thought he was going to be an all-time talent. It just, the list goes on and on. So if you really break it down, since 2000, you can say LeBron was a home run. Carmelo Anthony, regardless if people want to say maybe he didn't adjust to the modern game, become more team-friendly, Carmelo's a Hall of Famer. He was a hype pick. He's on my list here. Kevin Durant, first ballot Hall of Famer, champ, MVP. He's with LeBron right there, top tier. The rest of these guys, Anthony Davis excluded because he still has a chance to be a Hall of Famer. We don't know. We don't know. And most of these guys aren't going to be Hall of Famers, all-star caliber, talent in their prime. And maybe, of course, Wembanyama being a Wemby 7'3", stretch the floor. All the things I mentioned. He's a once-in-a-generation type of talent. Like they've been labeling everybody the last decade. The point I'm getting at is we got to give the kid time to develop. We got to give him a chance to grow as an athlete. We don't go on social media after one summer league game and call the kid a bust. And then after his second summer league game, it's the Wemby show. It's almost sick at this point. It's sad. It's clickbait. So you break down the list a little. You look at the guys who have been so hyped. The guys who, like Wemby, coming in the league, tank for Zion, tank for Durant, whatever it may be, tank for Wemby. Where does that get you? Now the Spurs, they have a little bit more of a method to the madness than a lot of these organizations we're talking about. There's a lot I historically say with sports. It matters where you go. And a lot of these franchises pick these kids number one or dudes number one. They were bad. And that's why these kids came in the league and struggled. Wemby won't have that issue. Great coach, great organization, legacy of players before him. Right now, though, the Spurs are not that great. So look for the season to start. And all of a sudden, people, can Wemby take him to the playoffs? Can he have a LeBron impact early? And look at Blake Griffin early. Some of these guys came in the league and they put on a show. I don't expect that from day one, but I don't think that makes the kid a bust. That's the point I'm getting at. We got to give kids time to develop, time to grow. So my expectations for the kid in the long run, doors open. You really never know. It's like I said, you got LeBron, KD, Melo, maybe Anthony Davis sneaks in the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Fame caliber talent, but if he retired tomorrow, it'd be because maybe basketball, they do the college and NBA careers. You look at all that, Anthony Davis is getting in the Basketball Hall of Fame. That being said, Anthony Davis is still on the fence for a lot of people, and he was one of the most hyped guys. Then you look, like I said, Blake, Wall, Rose, Yao, you got Ben Simmons, Zion, Greg Oden, all these hyped guys. Where does Wemby end up? How does he fit into all these guys who had all this health? I think if he could stay healthy, you're looking at a potential 10-time All-Star for sure. How many championships? In this generation of talented players, something that will get thrown under the rug so quick, so we already eat every player alive who's a professional right now. If he gets one in the next decade, in the next 5 to 7 years, I mean, that is an accomplishment in a league with guys like Giannis and Jokic going for multiple rings now, and then you guys got Luka chasing a ring, and you got still LeBron and KD and Curry and all those names still floating around. Ja Morant, if he get his head on straight. I mean, there is so much talent. Embiid's another guy. So if Wemby can get one, help make the Spurs a perennial contender in the next 3 to 4 years, that's realistic expectations. In the next 7 years, competing year in, year out for a championship, that's about when LeBron and a lot of these guys won their first ring, or really were starting to get to that point. So let's pump the brakes on one summer league game being what is going to define a kid, or his first season, or even his first 2 or 3 seasons. It's going to be about staying healthy, building the pieces around him with the Spurs. And if that happens, my expectations, 10-time All-Star. In his career, will he win a championship? I'd say yes, because in the modern day of the NBA, the people either join him with the Spurs if he's that talented, or he'll join a winner somewhere else. He'll probably get a ring, compete for MVPs. But the point I'm getting at, you wouldn't know it from one day of Summer League or day 2 of Summer League. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how he performs in his first NBA game or his 10th. Let's give the kid some time. Let's wait and see what happens. Let's stop the clickbait. Let's stop the nonsense, the hysteria, and let's look at some of the most hyped prospects historically and where they've ended up. Let's give the kids some time. We're still waiting on Zion. We're still waiting on Ben Simmons. Let's not do this with Wemby now, where right off the bat, he's labeled a bust because of a summer league performance. It's borderline sad and lame, nerdy, whatever. I mean, it's like, you got to have a little perspective how sports work. If you've never played a sport, or you're that eager to criticize somebody off of a game that doesn't matter, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. That all being said, Wemby, we'll wait and see what happens. But everybody, let's give the kid some time. He has a good head on his shoulders. The talent's there. Great organization. It's just a matter of time. Let's be patient, because if we're judging guys off overnight success over and over and over, we're going to really devalue long-term success. And you look at some of the greatest to ever do it, what's the common denominator? They were successful for a long time. They overcame challenges. They grew from it. And then guess what? They won more. So, hey, it's early, but I had to go out there and go on a little rant because people are already breaking this kid down from 2 summer league games. So, point being, don't be quick to label a player in today's NBA a bust, especially with how young these guys are coming to the league and the way they really take their time to develop players. So we'll wait and see. Does the Wemby show go in the LeBron fashion, or is it going to be like somewhere in between, like all the guys we mentioned? Health is the biggest factor, I'd say, because the talent's there, good head on his shoulders. We'll wait and see. Till next time, y'all, I'm J.D. Dugan. I'm out.